The tight end position group is an incredibly difficult position group to evaluate. And there's many reasons for that. To begin with, there's just the advancements of the modern NFL in offenses and just kind of how things have switched around from having attached inline wide tight ends to now more of a prominent focus on these detached, slot, versatile F tight ends that can move around your formation and kind of be these chess pieces inside of an offense. I mean, a lot has changed, honestly, in my time of watching the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, going all the way back from when the Philadelphia Eagles selected Keith Jackson in 1988 to, having an undrafted rookie free agent kind of steady the early Andy Reid franchise and Chad Lewis, who was an undrafted rookie free agent from 1997, to how about the 5th round pick in Brent Selleck, who eventually helped this organization, along with a 2nd round pick in Zach Ertz, actually win a Super Bowl, to now what we think is one of the staples of the Philadelphia Eagles offense, one of the guys that helps ground us a little bit here in Philadelphia, and Dallas Goedert, who's also a 2nd round pick. I mean, just the pure range at which we can evaluate tight ends that the Eagles have selected over the course of their history, it's quite complex. And that's what I want to do today, because I think one of the best camp battles is going to be what's behind Dallas Goedert. Each of these guys have a very unique, very, very unique physical profile to go over and kind of what they do, how they would fit inside of an offense. So without further ado, I want to talk about the camp battle coming up at tight end and just kind of how like a dude like Dan Arnold, a veteran tight end who's very athletic and converted wide receiver into tight end, kind of factors into this entire equation. All right, y'all. Let's get ready for this conversation. What's up, Cerebral Football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. So the first thing I noticed was I wanted to take a look back and just kind of see, like, what are the type of tight ends that the Philadelphia Eagles favor? Like, are they looking for that 6'5", 255, pound guy that has, 32 and a half, 33-inch arm reach, 80-inch wingspan? Are they looking for that big, inline, tough guy? It's like, yeah, you figure you would see that in the early ages of the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm going to be honest with you. The Eagles were early adapters to the athletic tight end. They really were. I mean, you can go all the way back, like I said, to Keith Jackson in the 80s, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about underneath the Andy Reid era. So I'm talking basically 21st century, guys, and what the Eagles have done. Even if you dip a little bit into the 20th century and you go back to that 1997 undrafted rookie free agent in Chad Lewis, you do see a guy that has, not the prototypical tight end. He was 6'5", 244 pounds. I mean, he was not the prototypical tight end, to be quite honest. He ran a 4.88 40, so little undersized, doesn't have the greatest 40 time, but there were a couple things that stood out to me when I dug deeper into a guy like Chad Lewis, like that 1.69-10 split. Remember what I told you? Sometimes ignore the full 40 and pay attention to the splits, because the splits give you the real information, not that full 40 time. He had a 2.88-20 split, so it wasn't quite, a good initial release, but didn't stay in phase per se. 15 reps on the bench, 31-inch vertical, and a 119-inch broad jump. When you really look, he jumped over 30 inches, damn near jumped 10 feet in the broad jump, guys, and had a 1.69-10 split. He was a little bit more twitchier than what probably was the standard tight end when we're talking in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, Chad Lewis was a different type of dude. He was a different type of player. Keep it going to L.J. Smith. I know a lot of you older heads like, oh, man, you're taking this back. L.J. Smith, we're talking about L.J. Smith. Yeah, man, we're going deep in this analysis here. L.J. Smith was a pretty unique athlete. Let's just call a spade a spade. It didn't work out, but the dude was 6'3", 258 pounds, almost 6'3", 260. But at that size, guys, he ran a 4.69 40 with a 1.64 10 split, a 2.72 20 split, a 37-inch vertical, and a 122-inch broad jump. And then he also had some pretty interesting, lateral movement drill numbers, if we're going to be real here. I mean, putting up a 4.18 short shuttle and a 6.74 three-cone. L.J. Smith was a very unique athlete. 6'3", dang near 260. Look at that 10 split. Look at that vertical jump. Look at that broad jump. And then look at his lateral movement abilities. That was a very, very unique player, to be quite honest. Let's fast forward and go in and talk to a guy who, unfortunately from injuries, it never worked out for him, but he was an incredible athlete coming out of college, just Cornelius Ingram. Cornelius Ingram, 6'4", 245 pounds, okay? Ran a 4.68 40 with a 1.53 10 split. Let me say that again, guys. A tight end with a 1-5-3-10 split. I know a lot of noise was made about Pitts, and that's because that's one heck of an athlete, guys. I mean, he was different. He was different a couple years ago when he came out of the tight end position. Also converted wide receiver into tight end, by the way. But you could see that, I mean, we're talking Cornelius Ingram was like 2009. I mean, the Eagles were already kind of in on this trend before this was the norm in the NFL, to be quite honest. If we're going to be honest about what was going on inside the walls of that organization. He had a 2-6-9-20 split, 21 reps on the bench, a 33-inch vertical, and then his lateral movement drills weren't that great. It was like a 4-5-3 and like a 7-1-2 3-cone. So his short shuttle was like a 4-5-3, 3-cone was like a 7-1-2. Those aren't exactly great lateral movements, but you can see the explosive traits, right? When you look at that 10 split, you look at the vertical, you look at the broad jump, you see those numbers. You know, it's like, oh man, like, yeah, there's something there. Like, this dude was pretty athletic, to be quite real about it. And then you get to like the cross-section of a guy like Zach Ertz. And I know Zach Ertz gets a bad rep because, you know, we called him No Yak, Zach. With that said, the guy could get separation at the top of his route stem. There's a real good reason why Zach Ertz is the all-time leader amongst tight ends for reception in a season. I mean, yeah, some of it had to do with the comfort level of the quarterback. There's no doubt about that. You can't take that factor away. But it's also the fact that Zach could just separate because he was a unique athlete, to be quite honest. This is a dude, when you go look at his combine numbers, you're like, oh man, he ran like a 4.76 or something. Great guy. He was horrible. Yeah, but look closely at those pro days and then look at the splits, guys. To where he comes back at his pro day and almost jumps like 36 inches in the vertical. Like, I think he put up like a 1.6-something-10 split. Like, he was more athletically gifted than people realized. I want to get into the competition that's going to be behind Dallas Goedert now, because I think that this competition is being slept on, and to be quite honest, these are some really, really good athletes. And I took you down this avenue to show you what the Eagles have done prior to this regime, prior to this grouping of players, just to show you they value this athleticism for whatever reason. They value it. And I'm going to give you some numbers that'll mess you up a little bit. Jack Stoll's a really good run blocker, right? You think that guy threw up a lot of numbers on the bench press, right? You'd be wrong. He didn't. Jack Stoll put up 16 reps on the bench. But, I mean, if you go and you take a look at a guy like Zach Ertz, I think Zach Ertz put up 26, 10 more reps on the bench. Zach Ertz was a decent, okay run blocker, but never really gave the effort that you would see from him in his receiving routes inside of the run game. Some of this has to do with proper leverage, proper technique, and just straight up and honest, it has to do with effort. Jack Stoll gives you that proper technique, proper leverage, and effort, and that's why he's really good in the run game. You know what else he gives you, though, guys? An 81.5-inch wingspan from Jack Stoll to go along with 33 1/8-inch arm reach. Over, 10-inch hands. Guy put up a 4.68 40-yard dash. A 1.64-10 split and a 2.66-20 split. Had a 31.5-inch vertical with a 119-inch broad jump. Jack Stoll, when I look at his film, I don't normally look at him and think to myself, like, oh, man, that dude's a crazy good athlete. Dude almost jumped 10 feet. And almost, 245, 250-pound-ish, tight end here, guys. I mean, it's nuts that he has that kind of underlying athletic ability, if I'm going to be honest with you. Jack Stoll had a 6.93 3-cone, guys, and a 4.29 short shuttle. He's a pretty dang good lateral mover. Probably not a surprise that he's as effective as he is given the effort he gives in the run game, given those lateral movement abilities too. Dan Arnold, a veteran free agent that we just signed here, right? Guy that had a couple of really good seasons a few years ago. If you look at Dan Arnold, 6'4", 222 pounds. He's a converted wide receiver into tight end, guys. You're not going to get the kind of crazy, lengthy, data from him. 32-inch arm reach, over 9.5-inch hand size, 79-inch wingspan. The Eagles do kind of keep up with these more wider, rangy kind of dudes, to be honest. A 4.63 40 with a 1.6 even 10 split, a 2.62 20 split, 39.5-inch vertical, 127-inch broad jump, a 4.3 short shuttle, guys, and a 6.81 3-cone. This dude's explosive traits, that 10 split, that broad jump, that vertical, mixed in with his lateral movement abilities, that short shuttle and that 3-cone, this dude is a one heck of an athlete. This is a crazy good athlete that's just added to the roster. Grant Calcaterra, 5th-round pick from last year. We know Grant Calcaterra's got the next two guys got some injury concerns, man. They got to get the injury stuff cleaned up. Grant Calcaterra, the concussions from college, it's always going to be a little bit of concern with him. He's 6'4", 240, 33.25-inch arm reach, 10-inch hands, guys. 79.875-inch wingspan, basically an 80-inch wingspan. Once again, talking about that wingspan, the big, rangy, large hands tight end players here. A 4.62 40 with a 1.59 10 split and a 2.71 20 split. And he put up 20 reps on the bench. He's a pretty good athlete, guys. We don't know his lateral movement ability, so it's a little hard to assess that. But he's got the explosive traits, man. This dude's a little bit of an explosive athlete. I'm going to be real with you. And then you take a look at a guy like Tyree Jackson, who's a converted quarterback. Athletic, man. This is an athlete. He's 6'7", 249 pounds, 34 and a quarter inch arm reach, 10 and a quarter inch hands, 83.75 inch wingspan. That's a huge wingspan, man. I'm not going to lie to you. This dude is huge. 4.59 40 with a 1.59 10 split, a 2.67 20 split, a 34.5 inch vertical, a 4.28 short shuttle, and a 7.09 3 cone. Yes, you can nitpick those lateral movement drills and say, Gate, those aren't great. That's true. He's also a quarterback. That's 6'7". So I would say that given the size profile of this young man, the fact that the footwork to play quarterback is a lot different to play receiver or tight end, or slot receiver and tight end to be more specific, I got to give him a little bit like, hey, man, he probably has some things to clean up with his footwork. But, I mean, you can just see the underlying raw athleticism here. And that's what I'm saying, guys, when I started the video. Look at each of these guys. These are very athletically gifted tight ends. And I know you can say, like, Gate, it's a generalized trend, man. The athletic, profile of these tight ends is just getting more and more, impressive. It's just the way the game is heading. And I hear you. But there's a little different level here to the Eagles and what they're doing behind Dallas Goedert. When you look at Grant Calcaterra, you look at Jack Stoll, you look at Tyree Jackson, you look at Dan Arnold, there's a prototype that they want here. And it has a lot more to do with the athleticism than anything. I'm excited to see how this thing shakes out. I have no predictions in terms of like who's going to make it, who's going to get left off the roster. I think this is such a good crop of athletes. Stay healthy, stay on the field, and let's see what happens. I want to see what happens behind these dudes. Jack Stoll's not known as a receiving guy, right? The disadvantage he has. Not known as a receiving guy. However, you can see the raw underlying athleticism of Jack Stoll. He might struggle to separate down the field. The dude's twitchy. You could definitely hit this dude on some tight end screens and some dump-off stuff. He can give you more utilization than they've used him in the passing game, if I'm going to be real. I look at a guy like Tyree Jackson. Yeah, he's not a nuanced route runner. He's got a fairly good feel for it because he sees the routes from the perspective of a quarterback. He knows where he should be in terms of the depth of his route by where Jalen Hurts' drops are, his steps are. He knows exactly where he's supposed to be, and that's big. But he's not a nuanced route runner, right? But he's been in the league for a while now. He's had these opportunities to try to iron this out. It's going to be interesting to see where he is. I'm excited, man. Grant Calcaterra, it's really the concussion, concerns and consistency because I thought in little spurts you could see that Grant Calcaterra that's a really good receiving tight end. I don't know his play strength in terms of the run game. That's something that needs to be determined later on. But, I mean, this is an interesting group of dudes. This is a very interesting group of dudes. And I think they brought Dan Arnold in to really push. His job is push these guys. You know what? Steal a roster spot if you can steal it. Because these dudes need to earn their way onto the roster. We need some experience. We need some trust behind Dallas Goedert. I think that's what they're trying to do, guys. That's what it feels like to me. I definitely think this is one of the few real competitions in camp. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I really do apologize. I missed a couple of videos, guys, but I was sick, man. It hit me pretty hard. I was down for the week, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I was down definitely for the weekend. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you guys on the next video.